Capricorn, the world may see you as ordinary, but heaven knows you as evidence. The wind that carries your name does not whisper coincidence. It declares intention. From the first cry you made, the universe adjusted its rhythm. Something ancient moved when you arrived, because your soul came carrying a divine signature that no one else could imitate. Every time you fell and rose again, something unseen took note. Every tear you shed watered the soil of your destiny. Even your quiet strength has been preaching louder than voices ever could. You aren't made for noise. You were made for proof. Proof that discipline can create miracles. Proof that faith survives even when nothing makes sense. Proof that God still places pieces of His design inside human hearts and calls them Capricorn. So tonight, let your heart answer this truth. You are not here by mistake. You are the reply to a divine plan that began before time even began counting. Before we go deeper, I want you to write in the comments below. Let heaven see your declaration. I am proof that God exists. Because by the end of this message, you won't just believe it. You'll feel it in every part of your being, that your story itself was God's handwriting all along. Capricorn, before the world ever gave you a name, the universe already gave you a purpose. Before your lungs filled with air, your soul was breathing with direction. You were formed with precision, shaped with intention, and assigned to carry something sacred that no one else could. There was a divine conversation about you before you arrived. Every strength you have, every challenge you face, even your quiet resilience, none of it is random. It's all part of a design that was drafted long before your time began. That's why your journey has never been simple. The roads that others walk with ease often feel heavier for you because your calling requires more depth, more endurance, more faith. You were never built to blend in. You were built to build something lasting, something that would outlive pain, outshine fear, and outgrow limitation. Even when you don't speak, your presence teaches. Your silence has carried more wisdom than many people's words. Each time you choose kindness when you could have chosen anger, each time you stay calm when you could have fought back, heaven takes note. You are not overlooked, you are observed by higher eyes. Capricorn, your patience has moved mountains in ways you can't see yet. God didn't design you to prove your worth to people. He designed you to prove His existence through your life. The fact that you endure when you should have given up, that's the proof. The fact that you still believe in goodness, even after seeing betrayal, that's the proof. Your path was never about fitting in. It was about standing out, quietly, humbly, faithfully. You were chosen to show that strength can be gentle, that hope can survive disappointment, and that faith can still win in a world that glorifies shortcuts. So when you feel misunderstood, remember, it's not because you're wrong. It's because you're different. You operate from a higher pattern, one drawn from divine architecture. The blueprint of your soul wasn't written in human ink. It was carved in light, placed within you before your first heartbeat, waiting for moments like this. Moments where everything in you remembers. You are not a coincidence. You are the evidence. Capricorn, being chosen is not always the blessing people imagine it to be. It doesn't always arrive wrapped in light or comfort. Sometimes it feels like carrying a weight no one else can see. Sometimes it feels like walking through fire with a calm face. Because even when your soul was breaking, you still showed up for others. You've known what it means to smile while holding back tears. You've stood strong when no one came to check if you were okay. That's what chosen souls do. They carry the world quietly, holding others together while their own hearts tremble in silence. There were nights when you questioned everything. Nights when you asked why your kindness was met with betrayal, why your honesty was twisted, why your loyalty was rewarded with rejection. But none of it was punishment. Every wound you took was part of your training, God's way of proving through you that faith can survive even the hardest storms. You've been misunderstood, not because you are wrong, but because you are rare. Your light unsettles people who hide behind shadows. Your strength reveals their weakness. And yet, through every heartbreak, you didn't become bitter. You became wiser, softer, and stronger all at once. Capricorn, you are not fragile, you are forged. You were built to show that holiness isn't loud, it's steady. It's the quiet endurance that keeps believing even when everything falls apart. It's the decision to rise again, not out of pride, but out of purpose. You are the mountain that never moved, even when storms tried to unshape you. You are living proof that a heart touched by divine purpose cannot be destroyed by human cruelty. Each betrayal was pressure, each disappointment was fire. And that pressure, that fire, it didn't come to end you. It came to refine you. Remember this, diamonds don't sparkle because they were treated gently. They shine because they were placed under pressure and refused to shatter. That's who you are, Capricorn. A soul shaped by storms, purified by pain, and strengthened by faith. You carry the weight of being chosen, but one day soon that same weight will reveal your crown. Capricorn, there were nights when your prayers felt like echoes, like they went up but never came back down. You spoke to the heavens and heard nothing. You begged for a sign, for direction, for comfort, but all you met was silence. And in that silence, doubt started to whisper, maybe I'm forgotten, maybe I'm alone. But you were never forgotten. You were never alone. Silence does not mean absence. It means something sacred was being written behind the curtain of your life. There are moments when God hides, not because he is gone, but because he is building. He was arranging what you could not yet see, preparing the path before your feet were ready to walk it. You were not being ignored, you were being aligned. That stillness, those quiet nights of confusion, were not wasted time. They were divine construction. You were in the in-between, between the version of you that had to break and the version of you that was meant to bloom. The space between your pain and your promise was holy ground. It was where patience grew roots. It was where faith became muscle. It was where heaven taught you to stand without needing to see. Capricorn, I know you've asked, why me? Why this pain? Why now? Because the miracle you were waiting for needed a foundation strong enough to hold it. And only someone with your spirit could carry what's coming next. Others may have given up when they saw no progress, but you kept showing up, even when nothing moved. And that endurance became your greatest testimony. While others saw delay, heaven saw precision. Every door that seemed closed was not denial, it was divine timing. Every no was clearing the path for a better yes. When your breakthrough arrives, and it will arrive, it won't just change your life. It will make everyone who doubted you realize that your faith was never foolish. It will show that God was there all along, designing something that required patience, trust, and your unshakable heart. You are the living proof that waiting is not wasting. You are the evidence that endurance still opens doors that effort alone cannot. And when your miracle unfolds, Capricorn, it will be clear to everyone watching that God was never silent. He was simply preparing his loudest answer through you. Capricorn, stop for a moment and truly look at the path behind you. Every step, every scar, every silent night, it tells a story far greater than struggle. It tells the story of a soul that refused to disappear. You faced storms that could have ended you. You've walked through fires that could have burned your heart to ashes. And yet somehow, every single time you rose again. You stood up even when no one came to lift you. You kept believing, even when believing made no sense. That kind of strength doesn't come from the world. That kind of light doesn't survive by human will alone. It's divine, quietly woven into your being by hands unseen. You were carried by mercy when your own feet could no longer move. There were nights when exhaustion weighed on your chest and the tears wouldn't stop, but something in you whispered, "Keep going." That whisper was not just your mind trying to cope. It was the divine reminding you that your story wasn't finished. How many times did you almost give up, Capricorn? How many times did you think, this is it, I can't do this anymore? And yet here you are, breathing, healing, learning, becoming. That is not coincidence. That is evidence. Evidence that God's strength has been running through your veins all along. Every time life tried to end your hope, it only grew back stronger. Every time someone underestimated you, heaven smiled, because they had no idea who was backing you. Capricorn, you are walking proof that God still moves through people. He didn't need you to perform miracles. He needed you to become one. And you have. Every time you forgave when you had every reason to harden your heart, you showed what divine grace looks like in human form. Every time you comforted someone while still battling your own pain, you became a living example of love that comes from something higher. You see, the divine doesn't just exist in temples or scriptures, it lives in moments like that. Moments where compassion overrules anger, where kindness outlasts bitterness, where peace wins without shouting. Think about it. How many times have you helped others without anyone knowing the depth of your own suffering? How often have you prayed for people who never once prayed for you? How many times have you stayed soft in a world that tried to turn you cold? That is holiness in motion. That is God expressing himself through you. The truth is, you were never alone, not for a single moment. When everything fell apart, unseen hands were still holding your life together. When you thought no one saw your effort, heaven was keeping record. When you cried in silence, the ground beneath you absorbed your tears and carried them to the divine, and he turned them into fuel for your next blessing. Capricorn, you have been divinely protected, even in the places that were meant to destroy you. Some of the people who left your life were removed for your safety, not your punishment. Some of the doors that closed were never meant for you to open, because your purpose is sacred. And not everyone can walk beside a soul chosen to reveal God's power. Every time you survived something that should have broken you, you gave heaven one more way to say, "See, I am still here." That's how powerful your existence is. Your life is a sermon that doesn't need words. Your endurance preaches louder than 1,000 voices. When people look at you and say, "I don't know how they're still standing," they are witnessing God through you. And it's not just in your strength, it's in your humility. It's in your quiet way of helping, your steady way of loving, your ability to stay grounded when chaos surrounds you. You teach others that holiness isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. It's about showing up with faith even when your heart is tired. It's about choosing peace when everything around you screams for war. Capricorn, you were not sent here to be flawless. You were sent here to be faithful. To show the world what grace looks like when wrapped in human imperfection. To remind people that God still works through ordinary lives, through tired hands and trembling voices, through hearts that refuse to turn cold. Your existence itself is divine evidence that no matter how dark the world becomes, light always finds a way to rise again. When you look at yourself, don't just see a survivor, see a vessel, a carrier of something sacred. You are proof that love can live through pain, that faith can bloom in dust, that goodness still has a home in this world. So when the world doubts God, Capricorn, all he has to do is point to you. Because your life, your quiet strength, your hidden endurance, your relentless hope is the answer to every doubt. You are the evidence. You are the living, breathing reminder that the divine still walks among us, and it chose you to be its voice in human form. Capricorn, there comes a moment in every chosen soul's journey when the fog finally clears. When you look back and realize that nothing, absolutely nothing, was random. Every ending, every delay, every heartbreak that once made no sense now fits perfectly into the story. You start to see the pattern, the way every closed door pushed you toward something better, the way every goodbye protected your peace, the way every loss stripped away what was never meant to stay. And suddenly, you understand. Life was never falling apart. It was falling into place. All those jobs that didn't work out, all those plans that failed, they weren't punishments, they were redirections. God was rearranging your path while you were busy thinking he had forgotten you. The people who left were not meant to continue the next chapter with you. Some exits were divine. They had to go so that your purpose could breathe. You're standing in that realization now, Capricorn, that sacred awareness that your story has always been guided. Every season of confusion was a lesson in trust. Every pause was protection. Every disappointment carried hidden wisdom. You were never delayed, you were being developed. The waiting seasons strengthened you in ways that comfort never could. The rejection that broke your heart built your discernment. The loneliness that felt unbearable taught you to hear your own spirit more clearly. And now, because of all that, you see the world differently. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer doubt, you understand. You no longer question your value. You know it. Capricorn, your life has been proof that divine timing is real. You've been sculpted by invisible hands, carved patiently into someone who can carry light without losing humility. That's why people sense something sacred about you when you walk into a room. They might not know your story, but they can feel your strength. They can feel the quiet power that comes from surviving without bitterness. You don't need to announce what you've overcome. Your energy already speaks it. When you talk, people listen differently. When you move, peace follows you. When you smile, it's not just joy, it's evidence. Evidence that pain can be transformed into wisdom. Evidence that survival itself can be holy. God never needed you to be flawless. He needed you to be authentic. He works best through those who have known loss, through hearts that have been cracked open and still choose love, through souls that have walked through darkness but refuse to curse the light. Capricorn, you are that vessel. You are the living proof that real faith is not loud. It's steady. It's the quiet courage to keep believing when everything tells you not to. It's the decision to rise again, not for attention, but because surrendering is not in your design. This, right now, is your moment of realization. The moment where you finally see that every piece of your story, every rise and fall, every mistake and miracle was divinely choreographed to make you who you are today. A living, breathing testimony that God exists and that His plan was never to harm you, but to reveal Himself through you. Capricorn, the universe is turning the page now. Everything you've endured, the pain, the isolation, the waiting, it wasn't meaningless. It was training. You were being shaped quietly, built slowly, refined deeply. Every delay was a classroom, every heartbreak a hidden lesson. Because what's coming next isn't small. It's sacred. You are being positioned now, not just to rise, but to lead. To lead with compassion, not pride. To heal others from the same kind of wounds you once thought would destroy you. To teach those still crawling through darkness that light is still reachable. Capricorn, you are about to walk into rooms where your story will awaken people. You will speak, and hearts will soften. You will simply exist, and others will remember hope. People will look at you and whisper to themselves, if Capricorn survived that, then maybe I can too. That's not coincidence. That's divine proof in motion. It's the universe showing others what grace looks like when lived through human skin. You were chosen not to impress the world, but to inspire it. You were never meant to compete. You were meant to confirm. Confirm that divine timing is not a myth. Confirm that faith can still win. Confirm that strength can live inside the gentlest heart. All those moments when you thought you were breaking, they were actually moments of birth. Your purpose was forming inside the pain. And now, everything you went through will make sense. Because the season ahead will reveal why it all had to happen that way. Capricorn, the universe is ready to showcase the masterpiece you've become. Not through fame, not through noise, but through quiet influence, steady light, and the undeniable presence of divine purpose shining through you. So now, dear Capricorn, when you look in the mirror, don't see a mistake, see a masterpiece. You have been molded by divine hands, shaped through storms, and refined by time itself. Every scar on your heart is a signature of survival. Every delay that once made you doubt was part of the design. Every season of pain was a prophecy that prepared you for purpose. You were never forgotten, never abandoned, never random. You are living evidence that God still breathes through human stories, through hearts that love after loss, through souls that shine after breaking. The world needs your calm strength, your steady presence, your faith that doesn't fade. You are proof that the universe doesn't make accidents. it crafts legends. You are one of them. If this message reached your soul tonight, comment below, "I am chosen." Let those words seal your faith and affirm your light. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel because your divine story is still unfolding. And I promise you, what's coming next will make sense of everything. You are proof that God exists, and the world is quietly watching your light.